and species, the Aristotelian classification, this whole mystery of genera and species, which makes such a noise in the schools, the scholastics, with justice so little regarded out of them, is nothing else but abstract ideas with names annexed to them. And if you look across the page at 193, you see a section entitled Abstract Ideas of the Essences of Genera and Species. And he points out at the end of that section that essences of the sorts of things, and consequently the sorting of things, is the workmanship of the understanding that abstracts and makes general ideas. So what are essences? Well, they're not real forms of a transcendent sort, as in Plato. They're not real metaphysical entities, as in Plato and Aristotle. Essences are those common and recurrent qualities essential to all members of a class, conceived of abstractly, in abstraction from all particular properties, in our abstract ideas and referred to by abstract terms. Okay? Conceptualism. Now, watch this, because it's his conceptualism that makes it possible for him to talk of things like mind, spirit, causal power, because some of these complex ideas are abstract ideas. Now, when you get to Hume, you'll find Hume is a nominalist. All of our terms have to be referred to particular ideas. Nominalism. And so because Hume is a nominalist, he rejects conceptions of matter and mind as substances and of causal power and of infinite space or infinite time. You see? Now, not only Hume, we'll find it next week when we get to George Berkeley, who's sort of a halfway house to Hume. Berkeley, too, is a nominalist, as distinct from a conceptualist. So, the old problem of universals is going to play a crucial role in this 18th century debate. Okay, anything there? Yeah.
I have a problem. Well, in the simple ideas, one of them is the reflection, or what we were talking about kind of as a sixth sense almost.
Yeah.
It seems like that shouldn't be classified with the others, the other five, because the way he describes it, it seems like the others are logically
fair. Yeah, I'm not sure it's fair to say he classifies it with the other five. He's saying we have two different kinds of simple ideas, because we have two kinds of sense. We have outer sense and inner sense. You see, inasmuch as it's inner sense, it's not classified with the five. They're outer sense. But it's still a source of simple ideas.
But that inner sense is dependent on the outer sense.
Well, it is for the simple sensory ideas on which we reflect. But it's not dependent on the outer sense for our reflective awareness of our own mental activities.
Well, in a sense, it's just from a way you describe it, it seems like he almost says it is, because it's like, well, what can I hope in if I don't have I mean, okay, shutting out all prior sense perception.
Yes.
What can I hope in if there's nothing to hope? What can I perceive?
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. If there had been no sensations of an external sort, would I be aware of my own thinking?
Or think at all, in a sense, almost.
Yeah, yeah. If there were no sensations of an external sort about particular properties of supposedly particular things, would I be developing abstract ideas? Would I be aware of my own abstracting?
Correct.
Yeah, I think you can ask that question. I'm not sure that he answers it. He might, I suppose he might well say that there are mental activities which are independent thereof. I'd have problems with that. I'm inclined to think we're such integral psychophysical beings that it's the physical and sensory interaction with the world which awakes self-awareness within us. So I think that the hypothesis which somebody proposed in that day of a person who has all his life been encased in a coat of stone so that none of the senses have any contact with the world, and then is animated, would have no experience at all, would have no consciousness at all. But it's only as the stone is chipped away, say from the eyes, that consciousness begins to arise. There was a Frenchman, the Baron de Condillac, who constructed that hypothesis. I think there's something to be said for that. Not for Condillac's reasons, he was a materialist, but simply because of the way in which our psychosomatic unity functions. But that's one question. Would reflection have anything to reflect on if there'd been no initial sensory input? That's one question. The origination question. The other question, though, is here I am, a functioning human being. Do I have anything to reflect on other than sensations? Yes! Yes, I have all sorts of ideas, abstract ideas, general ideas, and my own mental activities to reflect on. Enough to keep me busy, quite apart from new sensations. So, in that sense, right.
Well, I thought he was saying on the reflection, sensation, that reflection is what is the ability to make us, to give us complex ideas. Here's the scenario of the shot.
Yeah.
You would know rather strongly.
Yeah, but that's only one function of reflection.
And the other part of the reflection would be like when the mind being grasped itself.
Self-awareness, self-consciousness. Yeah. Basically,
if there was no sensation, that there would still be mind. There would still be reflection.
yeah, that's my point. That's my point, yes. Reflection means basically introspective awareness. You see, but there's all sorts of things going on in introspective awareness. You asked me yesterday in the office, wasn't it, whether what he means by reflection is abstraction. And I said no. No, my reflective awareness includes awareness of abstracting. But in that sense, abstracting is a mental activity that isn't just reflection. You see, it's an active kind of thinking of which I am reflectively aware. In that case, reflection is, well, you see, here am I abstracting, and there's a background of self-consciousness about it as it turns in on the abstracting process. There's sort of a reflexive activity involved in reflection. Reflection, reflexive, you see the two words are cognates. All right, a couple more comments about knowledge and belief. I said that knowledge of the third kind, sensation, admits only of probability. this as opinion, belief. Those terms are kosher, distinguishing, as in Plato's divided line, between knowledge and opinion, knowledge and belief. What is it that contributes to probability? What contributes to probability? Well, two things basically. One is the consistency of what I believe with my experience, with other things I know. That is to say, there can be beliefs which are contradicted by other beliefs or knowledge based on experience. So there's a matter of overall consistency, coherence. Secondly, the testimony of others, he admits as contributing to belief, probability of belief, testimony of others. And obviously this would be the case if we're talking about places distant, where what you believe about those places depends largely on the testimony of others. This would be the case with things that you read, where what you learn depends on the testimony of those who wrote, the testimony of others. That notion of the testimony of others begins to play a role in empiricism and in the whole matter of evidence for obvious reasons. Any one individual's experience is very, very limited. And it's perfectly obvious that we, all of us, by virtue of the very small scope of individual experience we have, that all of us develop beliefs that do depend greatly, draw on the experience of others. That's true in the sciences, it's true in everyday life, and so it's recognized once empiricism begins to develop. But once again, David Hume has some things to say about the credibility of witnesses whose testimony we draw on. And we'll see what he has to say about that subsequently. All right, one other comment about knowledge and belief. In response to Esther's question about how do we know that the things we come to believe are true, the simplest response that Locke would give would be simply the term evidence. There is evidence. And in contemporary epistemology, Locke is known as an evidentialist. In fact, he's sort of the paradigm case of an evidentialist. The way he puts it is this, and it's on page 201, and it's so